My brother never showed up for a thing. The one time he did, he almost missed the chance to hear me say it counted. I quit hoping years back. Not for the day I got my nurse's badge, not the day I bought my first house, not when I called to say I was getting married. He hadn't left the county in 7 years. Not since the night on the water. When I was 14, our small boat flipped in a squall out on the lake. He got me to the shore, then swam back for our young cousin and couldn't reach him in the dark. Our cousin drowned. My brother lived with a bad shoulder that never healed and a fear of open space that shut around him like a trap. He stopped going out on the water. He stopped going far at all. Our dad used to drive him places, pull him out into the world, till dad's heart gave out 3 years back, and then no one was left to pull him free, so he just stopped coming out. I told myself I got it. Mostly I did. But knowing a thing and not being cut by it are two different beasts. So when the venue called 2 hours before my wedding, the officiant was sick, my maid of honor's car wouldn't start, the whole day sliding sideways, I didn't even think to call him. He told me weeks back he couldn't come. It's too far, you know how I am. I'll be there in spirit. I said it was fine. I told him I got it. I'd had a lot of practice saying that and near meaning it. The ceremony started plain, then it wasn't. Halfway through, my grandmother, the one who'd raised us after the wreck tore everything apart, grabbed her chest in the second row and went gray, and the whole room turned, and someone yelled for help, and someone else was on the phone, and the guests were on their feet before I knew what I was looking at. She was breathing, but wrong. The medics came fast. They said heart, they said hospital. They wheeled her out the same doors I'd walked in. I rode with her. My veil was still in my hair in the back of that ambulance. My hands wouldn't hold still. I wanted my dad. I wanted my mom, long gone. I wanted more than I'd say, my brother, anyone. I sat in that bright hallway outside the heart ward in a wedding dress, and I have never felt so alone in my life. And then I saw him, coming through the doors at the end of the hall, moving too fast, breathing hard, still in the work shirt he'd had on when I called our aunt in a panic, and she called him, my brother, who hadn't driven more than 10 minutes from his house in 7 years, who steered clear of the highway like it was a cliff, looking down the hall till he found me. I thought I was seeing things. Then his good arm came around me, and it was real, and it was solid. How are you even? I got out. You don't drive the interstate. You can't. There was no time for any other way, he said. So I drove it. I couldn't speak. He'd white-knuckled 40 miles of the one road he couldn't make himself take, because I needed him and Grandma needed him, and this time he'd chosen not to let the fear win. We waited side by side. When the doctor came out and said she'd be okay, a stent, a scare, but okay, my brother dropped into a plastic chair and put his face in his hands. Later, in her room, while she slept, he told me the thing he'd never said. After the wreck, he'd decided we were all safer with less of him around. If he stayed small, stayed close to home, stayed out of the big rooms of our lives, he couldn't fail us again the way he'd failed out on that water. He thought vanishing was a kind of sorry. But when our aunt called him screaming that Grandma had gone down at my wedding, he said he finally heard it clean. He hadn't been keeping us safe. He'd been keeping himself from ever standing in a hospital hall again. And he was done letting that cost him the ones still here. I told him he came. That was the whole of it. And it was. Because for the first time in my life, when it mattered most, he crossed the thing that scared him most to get to us. And that one drive undid 7 years of every time he hadn't. He came to Sunday dinner last week, took the back roads 2 hours out of his way. But he'll tell you if you ask that he can take the highway now, if he has to.